Okay. Sorry about the last stream. I did explain everything that one, but my stream went down because I couldn't see comments and nor could you comment. So I'm sorry about that one. So we're back here. So let me explain all the characters again. We got Madness Combat Alex. He will be like a Hank type character for like a character for the show if you vote him. He's going to kind of be like Hank, but he can do other stuff. He can do kind of like tricky stuff. So if you vote him, he will be in the show. We got the Alex and Friends the hard action comedy movie. Basically, it's going to be a movie with like different characters you all can like design. Well, pick three if you vote for that one. I'll pick three characters you all vote. So basically, I've had this idea for a while, but I decided to put in this. And please note, anything that's loses in this will not be scrapped. There's only going to be one winner. So if one wins, the others won't be scrapped. We'll use them for something else. I'll probably sell them to a few people, but it's okay. So basically, it's going to have like the future, like another future, like where Elix takes over, and then the past, like our past universe, goes in and figures out what's going on. So that'll be like kind of like a future and past movie, if you all want that one. Then we got futuristic Jasper. He was going to be in like the movie, but I decided to make him a character. He still will be in the movie if you vote on this one. So basically, he has different things like his arm. He can like shoot lasers from, and he has like rocket boots, but you can't see him because the paper, on paper. He has now wings. He looks more serious than what he used to. So basically, he'll be like the futuristic one, like the more serious futuristic. Next, we have Jake. Jake is a character a little kid drew. And I decided to put him in here because why not? So if you vote on him, he's going to be kind of like a Hank type character as well. He's going to be like Hank's brother in my universe. Kind of like a Happy Dose or something like that. Like the anime comics. Next we got something you all can name. I just named him Black Hood in the thing because I didn't know what the name. So basically, he's going to be like a pirate slash Santa thing, like an evil Santa. And he's kind of insane because you can see the eye. The reason I named him Black Hood, but you can name him if you vote on him. He has like black around him. It looks like a hood up here. So that's one reason why. So basically, next we have the cartoon characters. Basically, it's going to take like an old fashioned like it's going to take old fashioned like characters and we're going to put them in the show. Like what if you do vote them, we'll have like an episode just for them, like where we go into like an old television show. So basically, we've got Cartoon Alex and Cartoon Colton. With we could add Cartoon Cat if you all vote for him. We'll add Cartoon Cat if you do. So basically, it's supposed to be like a cute little TV show going on, kind of like Abandoned the Adventure. So next we have Timmy, which we just going to add for like these two. You could like make the show. TV is like a show where anything can happen, kind of like Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, and Happy Tree Friends. This all you have to do is just send me like your creepypasta ideas, write creepypasta or anything, and then send it to me, and I'll make it into an episode. Like right now, you can see like a prey thing, like from the Sonic thing, Starved, like Starved. That's supposed to be Starved Eggman, Sonic and Furnace. But this is just concept art. You could do like anything else. It kind of looks better than mine. I can actually say that, but um, you all can create the creepypasta, send to me, but you only can vote for one, only one. So time to get voting. I'll be looking at the comments and I'll turn on some music. Crap. I'll turn on like some gaming music. Okay, and I'll add to the list. And the characters will not be scrapped. I did a Harry Potter thing. I used to use this on Twitch. My personal favorite would probably either be the movie or Jake, actually. It probably lagged or paused for a second, guys, because I'm sorry. But put your comments or put your votes in the comments because I will look at them. You'll probably hear stuff because I'm gonna put junk in my backpack and stuff. Hello. You can go ahead and comment what you would like, but first reverse all the way back and listen to everything I've said, because I will be back. Basically, reverse all the way back. If you didn't hear me, because this music I put on loud. And no, it's not copyright, so don't copyright me, YouTube, please. Oh yeah. Like I'm putting all my stuff in my backpack for school because we had to do something. There we go. And put your votes in the comments, because I will be watching the most. You might cut a string if you want. There. Where were you? Vote on one. Early. Not hard.
Watch, ask what would be conscious about cosmetics. How did all the 199 new holiday things at low price? Unless they're unbelievable.
And all the big toy.
Little while, but I'm back to let you know that it's time. Take what's mine. Always gonna do you, but no matter how long this road is, make do. Faithful through it all. It all. We gotta run until I want, yeah, I want. Can't they no. It's just how this go. Go. Don't go slow, no. Speed it up. Whoa, give it up. No. Finish line. Now I know it's my time, but you always doubted. I'll make it to the top. No matter I won't stop. And keep me away from it. Away from it. I'm faithful through it. This is The Time Tower, a 2D platformer with an emphasis on speed. It was made in 3 days for the Living Dare 51 Game Jam, and the theme of the jam was every 10 seconds. Here's the story of how it was made. I decided to make the game a 2D platformer.
Steady, boy, got your wood job like a man.
I decided to make the game a 2D platformer. One, because platformers are my favorite genre. Two, because 2D is supposed to be easier than 3D. And three, because I already had an idea for the game. In fact, it's an idea I had back when I first started learning Godot and wanted to do something that would be simple, but would still test my competency in the new game. In Mario Party DS, there is a mini game called All Geared Up. You try to get to the top of a clock as fast as you can. That's my idea. Not too cheap, but I wanted to capture that essence. So I made a temporary character sprite and started working on a 2D movement script. Throughout the last few years, almost all of my movement scripts have been based on a single script that I designed for one of my early 3D games several years ago. This was constantly referenced, copied, modified, with minimal changes to the code structure. Rarely ever did I actually start from zero and code the movement myself, test the movement myself, and add features not based on code that I read or learned about online, but instead based on what I felt the game needed, how I thought it should be implemented. And truth be told, I've never been super thrilled with my movement system. But when you're making a fast-paced 2D platformer, you want the movement to be thrilling. That's very good. So I started from zero, added basic controls and started molding it from there. I made gravity stronger while the player was falling down than when they were going up to create a sense of weight. I created a jump cue so that if you press the button slightly before the character hits the ground, it will remember the input on contact. I also added in a coyote timer, which allows the player an extra fraction of a second to press jump, even if they've already left the platform. Just the kind of stuff that makes the game more fair and responsive. I put together a rough run for testing the movement and was surprised to find that the movement actually felt good. On previous projects, I would spend hours running around until I got completely used to the movement and developed it's fun enough. But by preventing myself from becoming too long to control and making the rules stop and start thinking the moment something bothered me, I found that instead of changing how I play to work with controls, I was changing controls to work with how I play. And with minimal testing time, I was getting better, snappier, and more satisfying movement than any of my previous games. Throughout development, I continued to iterate upon the movement script. It steadily grew more and more advanced, with a lot of different actions depending on a combination of in-game factors and player inputs. I added wall jumps, which meant that I wanted wall slides, which meant that I had to consider if the character was jumping, attempting to jump, falling, pushing to the side, which side were they pushing to? Was the moon waxing or waning? And I had to carefully craft a set of ifs and actions for every combination of these factors. It was definitely a test of my ability to organize and follow code. But you know what? It was really fun, and I'm super happy, not only with the result, but with its structure too. As per usual, it's far from perfect, but it's in a much more readable and modifiable state than most of my other stuff. That's the win. At this point, I decided to create the systems required for the actual game. I wanted to get all the core features so that I would have the following days free for just working on art, levels, and other bonus features, instead of rushing to cram all the stuff in before the deadline, like I usually do. But first, what is the gameplay loop? Every 10 seconds. I thought about how I could make this game fit that theme and ended up liking the idea of only having 10 seconds. This meant that the levels would have to be very short, but that also meant getting the project done a lot quicker. The system is pretty simple. I have a timer that constantly ticks down and gets reset every time it either hits 0 or the player makes it to the next checkpoint. And in the case of the former, it also sends a signal to the game master to kill the player and set the position to whatever the last checkpoint was. With all the main systems a go, it was time to start building upon the foundation, art, obstacles, animations, that kind of thing. Let's start by quickly making a tile map. Here I present the idea, and here I present the reality. I wanted the tiles to resemble that lovely trim around the edges and those shiny bronze central areas. However, I settled for a passable brown once I realized how painful it is to create a whole tile set that works for every possible tile combination. Constant copy, paste, readjust, reshape, compare. All of this took well over an hour. By the time the tile set was working functionally, my patience had dwindled to the point where I no longer cared if it looked good aesthetically. I don't think it's horrible, but it is nothing like that. Somehow, making all of the sprites for the main character was easier and took less time than the tile set. And even that felt way too difficult and time consuming. So, dear sprite artist, my respect for you is immense. That was the first day. All I had to do for the second day was build upon the foundation I created. The first obstacle I created was a gear, because clocks have gears. And my approach for creating the sprite was interesting. I made a fully modeled textured lit 3D object in Blender that was then rendered onto a low resolution image that then got warped through every sprite and Photoshop filter on Earth to create this image that kind of looks like sprite art. And I like how it looks, but it doesn't match the rest of the art style in the slightest. It got closer over time as I made adjustments to each sprite to try and unify them, but even that approach was sort of hampered by my refusal to spend any more time on the level tile set. Next, I made what I like to call step-outs. They're basically these platforms that appear and disappear on a set timer, and they're based on these guys. I don't know what they're actually called. Finally, I added weights. They slowly lift up, then fall down, with the goal being to crush it. The way I detect if the player's been crushed is by sending out a tiny raycast from the center of the sprite upwards and checking if it hits anything besides the player, of course. If so, it means that the player is stuck somewhere and should die. It's a little finicky, and sometimes it just doesn't work, but it works most of the time. It was now 5 p.m., and I had till 3 p.m. the next day to finish. But at this point, I was feeling really good about how the project was progressing. The game was working, the player was moving, the graphics were passable. I added in some sounds from Freesound and SFXR, and then all I really had to do was design levels. I decided to make 10 levels to be completed within 10 seconds. Completed by the player, that is. So I spent the rest of the night and the following morning just designing levels and watching Jerma. My level design technique started off strong. I put the player in a simple room with two toggling platforms and some basic instructions for people who've never played a game before. In the second room, I introduced wall jumping, since it's an important mechanic for later levels. And in the third room, I introduced holding down space to jump higher. I follow this up with a room that introduces gears in a not completely harmless but easily navigable way, which is followed up by the dumbest level I've ever designed, which is followed up by more gears and crushers and so on and so forth. I actually quite like some of these levels. In particular, there's a level where you make your way between gears and wall jump to ascend to the one above. I think it's a clever idea, and that the execution is pretty fun. That's actually the only level I'm really a fan of. This project has definitely reminded me that I need to get better at level creation. Maybe I should pop open Mario Maker 2 for the first time. After a few playthroughs and a bit of polishing, I was feeling just about ready to release the game, so I gave it to a couple friends to play test. Celebrating the season for you. And this next season will be our best yet. New products, interactive experiences, and traditions waiting to be made. Dick's House of Sport, a place to be together.
Treating schizophrenia without a daily pill may seem impossible. But what if there was a path to treatment just twice a year? It's time for Invega Caffeine, the only long-acting injection that helps continuously control schizophrenia symptoms for up to 6 months with one dose. Before starting, you must be adequately treated with a similar shorter-term injection for at least 4 months. Invega Hafkira is not for everyone. Elderly dementia patients have an increased risk of death or stroke. Call your doctor if you have uncontrollable muscle movements, FDA can become pregnant, or if you have a high fever, increased cholesterol, weight gain, heart rate, and high blood sugar, which can lead to coma or death. These are not all Invega Hafkira. Imagine what's ahead when you leave schizophrenia pills behind.
It's the playtest.
Impossible game. Game you made it absolutely. I hate this game. I hate you now. I hope you lose the game.
My first full run of the game took 4 minutes. One friend took 24 minutes, and the other took an hour and 10 minutes. I'm being completely honest when I say that I in no way intended for this to be a rage game, but that's kind of the impression I got from that. The guy that took over an hour was Derek. Now, in his defense, that first build of the game did have some issues with platform timing. The animation of the clock weight falling took 3 seconds, whereas the animation of the platform appearing and disappearing took 4 seconds. But since I wanted them to be in sync, I had to change the speed of the animations to line them up. And instead of being smart and setting the 3-second animation to play at 75% speed, I set the 4-second animation to play at 133.3333 to infinity percent speed, which was rounded. And by the time Derek had made it to the final level, the mechanism had fallen out of sync, making it nearly impossible to complete, let alone practice. So, if we played fair and only count the time it took him to get to that level, then it's only 35 minutes. Very reasonable. I went ahead and fixed these synchronization issues in the last level before I uploaded the final. Despite the game clearly being much harder than I anticipated, I was tired and didn't feel like redesigning the levels. And there it was, the final game up, out, and ready for judgment. And a few hours before the deadline at that. No stress today, just regular old exhaustion. I've since had plenty of time to reflect upon the work I've done and the game I made and the feedback I've received, and this is some of what I found. The visuals are fine. I find that my style varies quite a bit between games, so I'm not super bothered if one game looks better than another, since I'm always trying different things. It's not the prettiest pixel art out there, but it's simple and functional. If there's anything I'm really not a fan of, though, it's that background image. I got it off Pixabay and tried adjusting it to fit the rest of the game, but it doesn't, and I really dislike it. If I was to make this project again, I honestly might have tried to find a tile set online. While the people in the jam really seemed to enjoy the way the game controlled, most friends that played said that they didn't like that. One explained that it's too floaty, and the lack of distinction between the low jump and the high jump made predicting jumps difficult. The other said that they were just bad at platforming games. But while the movement isn't perfect, I'm much happier with the flexibility of the system I made compared to my previous projects. From the perspective of someone who likes running through level 1-1 of any Mario game as fast as possible, I enjoyed, quote-unquote, speedrunning my own game. But as someone who doesn't share the perspective of a more serious speedrunner, such as one who focuses on mastering certain strategies, exposing exploits, analyzing the build of the game, that kind of thing, I can't be too sure how well this even fits the bill of a good speedrunning game. For one, it's very short, which makes the repetition quick and easy, and the barrier to entry very low. But that also makes the possibility for error much slimmer, such that the hypothetical perfect run may be achievable by a large number of people very early on, which would ruin any chance of future records in the competition. It's also a game with, I think, very limited movement options that prevent the use of weird exploits. Think backwards long jumps or look down in GoldenEye. And this also limits player creativity. And crucially, this is a game with many of its elements on a timeline. Things rotate, oscillate, and flicker at a specific rhythm, which may make it difficult or even impossible to progress before a certain event. It's a game with more or less a right way to beat it and minimal ways to vary, which could mean that all in all, the game isn't very appealing from a speedrunning perspective. Nevertheless, I think it's a fun challenge for those who have managed to beat the game normally. So instead of thinking of it as a game meant to be speedrun with and against others, maybe think of it as a game where you compete against your previous self and maybe some friends. A game that can be mastered if you put in the effort. And how about this? My personal record at this time is 116.91. I want to see how many people can beat that. And I want to see how many people can beat the game in general. While this game isn't one that I'm as proud of for not being as artistically fulfilling, I think it's a nice little experience that's fairly fun to play. And the link to play is below. Ciao for now.
Quiz. What does this SpongeBob theory video and this mutant cow have in common? That's not a joke, by the way. It's a legitimate question. What could possibly unite this beefy blob with our yellow porous friend? Well, obviously, they're parts of an alien conspiracy to clone frustrated online creators. Duh. YouTube is a strange place sometimes. Hello, Internet. Welcome to Game Theory, the show that wants to see significant growth of that subscriber number. Actually, you know what? That's not true. It's an antiquated metric from an earlier time on the platform. YouTube knows at this point if you care about the channel or not, so you can just ignore that subscribe button down there. Seriously, do not touch it. No, stop it. Do not touch that subscribe button. Stop it. You clicked it, didn't you? A couple weeks ago, we started untangling the fleshy web of lies that is Happy Meat Farms, an ARG mystery that's hosted right here on YouTube.com. All of it posted on the channel. This place is not happy. Now, at first glance, HMF looks like any upstanding meat production company. Wide landscape shots of golden fields with grazing cows, business-friendly infographics promoting their services, corporate welcome videos full of one-frame jump scares and hidden passwords. You know, usual. You see, once you start peeling back the layers of encrypted codes hidden within both the YouTube channel and its associated website, you find a world of horrific scientific experimentation, deformed animals, gene testing, all of it tied to some kind of alien overlord simply known as Mother. Last video we began our quest to expose this alien conspiracy. Gain access to the website.
What the heck was that?
Trial 0027 mutated managing to escape from the Happy Meat Farm containment. So, with a hyper-intelligent monster on the loose and mother growing increasingly hungry, we found ourselves looking through a second video frame by frame to uncover the new access code, the password to the company's R&D webpage. So, let's jump back into this cursed company website to figure out what's really going on, shall we? As soon as you land on the R&D page, you'll notice that we aren't in Kansas anymore. The soft colors of the employee and customer-facing pages are ripped away, replaced with just plain white text over a black background. By looking at the page, we can actually see that the R&D department is currently working on 2 major your projects. The first is one that we're already familiar with, Project Chimera. This is what we've been seeing via the leaked footage over on YouTube. Experiments meant to increase the amount of living biomass in an animal so it can be sent to Happy Meat Farms HR. They do this by injecting some sort of foreign DNA into the test subjects. Where's that DNA from? Unclear, because the text has been redacted. Not even upper-level employees are able to get this classified information. However, if you highlight that white redacted text, it actually reveals what's written there. Why is no one good at their jobs? Anyway, it reveals that this DNA has come from none other than Mother herself. It's her DNA that seems to be causing the extreme growth, increased intelligence, and also overwhelming aggression that we've been witnessing in these test subjects. Under the project summary, there's also an incident report which provides some additional detail on the escaped subjects that we've learned about with the first two, an acidic chicken and spider cow, have been contained. Human subject H0027 is still involved. According to the report, during their escape, H0027 stole files from the main server. I guess the missing files are the videos that have been uploaded to YouTube. And H0027 is the voice that we hear at the end of that second leaked tape. Ongoing R&D project listed here is Project Vulnerability, an effort to introduce diseases into the population using intentionally contaminated food products. These diseases are intended to create weakness in the population that Mother can later exploit to create her so-called New World Order. And that's about it. I gotta admit, for being 2 layers deep, I expected a bit more. That said, we still haven't broken into the most secretive area of them all, HR. I mean, that's the place where all the successful experiments go, and the place so something's gotta be going on over there. Who knows, maybe even Mother itself. Luckily, subject H0027 gave us a final leaked video on the This Place Is Not Happy YouTube page. Happy Meat Farms HR orientation video. Perfect! Finally, we get ourselves a sneak peek behind the padlocked steel doors. In the video, we're told that there are 3 rules every HR employee has to follow. Don't touch anything, don't look at anything, which here because the rest of the video is a tour of the HR department specifically asking us to look at things. And finally, that's all. Great to be in a positive work environment. The HR building looks to be abandoned. However, on the tour, we see all the things that you'd expect. Desks, lackluster birthday decorations, rabid mutant dogs. They even have a creepy IT guy named Jared who works out of the industrial refrigerator. Like I said, all the normal office stuff. Of course, there's some unusual things here too. A room full of flesh, mouse traps lining the walls, and finally, the tour ends with us getting to dine alongside the big boss woman herself, Mother. So it seems like that's Happy Meat Farm's primary goal, using all the successful biomass experiments to feed this giant tentacled monstrosity. Quick side note, is this technically cannibalism? I mean, her own DNA is being used to make these creatures grow. Only eat things that literally have a part of me inside of them. That is a weird dietary restriction, I gotta say. Then again, who am I to judge? I don't really like mushrooms. So who's the real weird one here? I guess it's just reassuring to know that she approves of her own product. We're told once again that Mother is pleased before we cut back to a video of Ramona Bynes, head of Happy Meat Farm, thanking us for our support. Except something goes wrong. The video distorts and we hear a voice tell us, now this is huge. By using the identifying word me, it informs us of 2 things. First, that we shouldn't believe that the woman on screen, Ramona, is what she says. That somehow she's a clone of Ramona. And secondly, that H0027, the person speaking to us through these leaked videos, she isn't just any volunteer employee, she's Ramona Bynes herself. It's not the only evidence pointing towards that conclusion either. When the deformed dogs are shown during the HR video, we see I never wanted this to happen here within glitches. A sentiment that's completely in line with Ramona's original goal of creating a farm that gives animals the best quality of life. Later, when we visit the pink room, or recreation of a child's bedroom, the name Ramona is posted over the bed. But H0027 comments here, how did they get every detail? This is Ramona's childhood bedroom. And for H0027 to know that the details were all correct, it means that she has to be the real Ramona. She was captured by her own company, she was experimented on, and then mutated beyond recognition, only to be replaced by some sort of a clone, an exact replica so that no one would notice that she had gone missing. Luckily, this real Ramona did manage to escape, grabbing the video evidence off the servers to expose their plot. Not all that we see by going slowly through this video. Further examination reveals pink letters that are written on the walls throughout the HR department. WF71A, which gives us a password and access to the final employees only section, HR. On this page, we primarily learn about the 3rd and final Happy Meat Farm initiative, Project Nightmare. We're told that Mother's apparently had a bunch of kids over the years. talk to her, and that these children are the reason that Happy Meat Farm needs hosts. It's left vague, but the children need to digest something from each host in order to reach their final form. Only then can the mother and children share the digested stuff and then be reconnected. There's just one catch though. We're told that these children can't just take over by force. They have to be willingly handed control by the host. That's where Project Nightmare comes in. A series of psychological torture that's meant to weaken a host and make them more compliant. The hair room, the flesh room, all part of the nightmare. But what exactly is being digested here? What is all of that redacted text? If they've already broken down the will and identity of the host, what else is there to give? And what does any of this have to do with reconnecting with Mother? Well, loyal theorists, that's where the SpongeBob conspiracy finally comes in. Right at the start of all of this. On the very first page of the HMF website, there's a small blurb that mentions Happy Meat Farms sponsoring up-and-coming online creators. These aren't just random made-up names like Ramona Bynes. These are actual real-world creators with actual real-world channels and videos that you can watch right now. Channels like the filmmaker Wesley Harold, Conspiracy, and of course, the SpongeBob guy, Alex Bale.
Happy Meat Farms is an animal farming company that offers a variety of different delicious meat products.
It seems like they're connected to this entire Happy Meat Farm conspiracy, but how? What exactly is going on here? Today, Alex Bale's released 9 SpongeBob theories, and they start largely how you'd expect. Well-crafted deep dives into the lore of SpongeBob, looking at the exact sort of stuff that we cover in a typical episode. Are the characters the result of atomic testing? Is this all part of an underwater documentary? Why are there multiple rulers of the sea? But from theory number 3 onward, we start to see a much bigger story. At moments throughout the video, Alex begins talking to a monster hiding in the shadows of his garage. A fleshy monster that he calls.
Great, glad we're on the same page. You know, I'm sorry about all that shouting. No, I don't have anything against it. It's better because, you know, a lot of the issues that we're having. I'm glad I don't have an understanding.
And we see that this title of Muse is very appropriate for the creature. This thing in the shadows is the one that's providing him with the SpongeBob theories. Can we get one of those Muse things? However, the Muse doesn't do it for free. It requires feeding, specifically raw meats. Yeah, about the Muse thing, still totally worth it. Buy a bunch of meat at the grocery next time you're there. At this point, you know I gotta call it out. A monster that hides in the shadows, has long, fleshy tentacles, and requires large amounts of raw meat to sustain itself. Now, why would that possibly sound familiar? And while some of us would welcome a script-delivering meat monster in their garage, Alex apparently sees things differently. It's clear that he isn't exactly thrilled by the arrangement.
No, this is not what I wanted, okay? This isn't working. We are fine. This house.
Not only do we see this in the narrative moments of the videos themselves, but his cry for help is even hidden in the channel's banner. That might look like just a black image, but good theorists know that black images are always worth checking. By cranking up the exposure, you can see the words, "Don't be confused." Ladies and gentlemen, we're not down on the farm anymore. This is a whole separate related ARG dedicated to the Muse takeover. He's trapped by it, forced to make more and more SpongeBob theories despite his creative frustrations. And he's not alone. YouTube channel banners have to be made to fit all different devices that you might want to watch on. So what you see by watching on mobile or desktop is just a tiny fragment of the complete image on there. There's a much bigger image that exists that no one ever really gets to see unless they're watching the channel on a television. And even then, I don't know if I've ever actually found it used on a television. Anyway, pulling the entire banner image is a bit of a hassle. You have to go to the source code and then find the line about 2125 TV banners. You gotta fix the URL manually. But anyway, you manage to do all of that with Alex's banner, and you actually get yourself a second secret message there outside of the typical line of view. They are everywhere. Well, theorists, there's more than one view. If they're out there, where are they? Alex's 5th SpongeBob theory, he uploaded a short horror film called Late Night Snack. It did fine, 200,000 views, which is great, at least until you compare it with the SpongeBob theory that can get upwards of 10 billion views. To add insult to injury, another YouTube channel, the cynical critic, real name Mark Mayhew, did a review on that very short, digging into how bad it was and really pushed for Alex to stick to the SpongeBob theory stuff that he's good at.
Alex, go back to making SpongeBob theory videos.
wants to see your awful horror film.
Admittedly, it's a really harsh review, but if you stay to watch the whole review to the end, you start to notice black liquid. The same black liquid that we see appear in Alex's fifth SpongeBob theory. Black goo that comes from a muse. So it seems that the cynical critic also has himself a muse in the background. And wait, wasn't Mark also one of the creators that was sponsored by Happy Meat Farm? Now you start to see how these puzzle pieces come together. During the cynical critics responding to hate comments video, we see a brief flash of his Gmail account. Based on the subject lines in the email previews, we get basically this character's entire backstory. It explains that his mother has lost her health insurance and can't afford to pay it. He also appears to have had a falling out with his business partner, Anthony, because he started to lose everything. It's almost like someone or something giving him advice on how to make his channel more successful. And wouldn't you know it, one email later, it's a receipt for a bunch of raw beef. It's like someone ignored the warnings. Shortly after that, we see a notice that Anthony has disappeared. Before finally, the big stuff. Happy Meat Farm emails wanting a sponsorship. Forget your best friend's untimely disappearance. It is all about that moolah, baby. Hashtag spy. The story becomes even more explicit in the final upload, while this takes its paradox to the classic. Here, Mark's reviewing the short film that was produced by HMF Entertainment. Happy Meat Farm is in this video, we see the cynical critic trying to escape the muse, only for the muse to say this.
He was being a bad friend. He serves a better purpose now.
A tentacle launches out from the darkness and grabs it. We cut to a smiling, cynical critic ending his video, black liquid dripping from his nose. And while I could tell you what you're seeing here, we'll just show it to you. If you stop the video at 7 minutes and 9 seconds, you find the answer. Hidden text that reads, Phase 3 complete, post-assimilated, begin digestion, awaiting reconnection. And you see, this is Project Nightmare. Hosts being targeted and manipulated by these muses, who then go on to manipulate other hosts. Mark, the cynical critic, is broken down by the pressure to earn money while his mother struggles with medical bills. He kills his partner in disagreement. The guilt and pressure that he's feeling ultimately push him into willingly giving up to the monster. In the end, he's left there on camera as a smiling, oozing corpse, responsible for content. It's the exact same thing that we saw happen with Ramona Bynes, original founder of HMF. They're consumed, digested, assimilated, and cloned, made into a smiling, talking head for the camera. A smiling head that then turns the attack onto someone else. That's why Mark's reviews openly attack and antagonize Alex Bale. It's psychological warfare. The muse is trying to break down Alex, get him to succumb. It's Project Nightmare. And despite resisting for a long time, even Alex. His ninth SpongeBob conspiracy theory, the final shot is of him being consumed, literally eaten by a replica of himself. Except what we know of Alex is gone. Only the SpongeBob guy remains. Now, these sorts of messages and mini mysteries are hidden throughout both Alex and Cynical Critics videos, of course, but also on other channels too. Conspiracy Carl, Paradox 1313, Sonic the Blue Rat, the list goes on and on. Some of them require ciphers, others require you to match the words in the script. But all of them refer to these phases, making the hosts compliant like eventual digestion, just like we read about on the Happy Meat Farm's website. And speaking of that website, if you still weren't convinced that these two ARGs were connected, I decided to check the website banner for Happy Meat Farms just like I did for Alex Bale's channel. Guess what I found? Behind where the text box usually is, there was a mutant cow and the word muse written. Boom! Case closed, theorists. These YouTubers are 100% being digested by mothers, children. So, knowing what we know now, I ask again, what is being digested exactly? I'm supposing it's passion, creativity, maybe some level of ethics. Creators, for various reasons, sought fame and fortune, but wound up turning to creatively unfulfilling clickbait content. They got their success, but the grind of audiences only being interested in one specific type of content caused them to become lost, replaced with a soulless clone who's successful, but really is just the shadow of their former self. Making lifeless videos not because they want to, but because it's all anyone else seems to care about. All of it in service of a greater, powerful monster, the YouTube Mother. With one final upload coming in 2023 to end the Muse saga, I suspect it's going to be a bittersweet conclusion. Sure, Alex is going to manage to get past his Muse and take control back of the channel for himself, but that doesn't mean it's going to be a happy ending. YouTube algorithm are still going to remain. Happy Meat Farm and Mother are still going to be there, finding new hosts, new creators that are going to make the content that they want to push on the platform, stuff that they can put higher paying ads on in order to feed their insatiable appetites. Will the viewers still stick around for the content that he wants to make, defying the algorithm? That's the question he's going to ask. If you take anything away from this episode, it's that we all have our own part to play. Sure, we can point fingers at YouTube and algorithm blaming them for empty, lifeless content. Those systems, the viewers, we tell those programs what we watch. Unless we're talking about shorts, in which case that was forced up to us. Anyway, if one of your favorite creators tries to make something new, you can go watch it. The first time it's going to be a little rough, but by supporting them, we allow them to keep going, to hold that idea into something incredible. You want proof? So right here in these two ARGs. I mean, they've been a wild ride. Puzzles, the story, the message, all of it absolutely fantastic, but it is very different from what people expect of Alex's usual content. As time goes on, though, he's received support for it. You can literally see the quality, the puzzles, the story, all getting better. So do your part and at least try to support the creators that you love, whatever they decide to do. Because you never know what awesome story you might get out of it. And Alex, go and win this one for humanity, buddy. I'm looking forward to the big conclusion of all of this. There's going to be plenty of meat on the bone for me to chew on. Or, if you get bored, you can always do more SpongeBob theories over here. But hey, that's just a theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching. If you're already subscribed to the channel, thanks. It is great to see so many people invested in what we do here over at Theorist. So I'd like to repay you by helping you guys invest in other brands, more specifically their stocks. And it's all thanks to today's sponsor, Public.com. I don't know about you, but it feels like everywhere I look these days, I'm constantly being reminded about the stock market. Some controversy kicks off, we're told that the stocks for those brands are going down. Elon Musk makes a tweet, suddenly every news tuber is telling us that the stocks are going up. I mean, watching Mark Zuckerberg turn Meta into a trash fire of burning cash is probably the internet's best programming. But while we may be constantly exposed to those stock market shifts, it actually makes the idea of investing in stocks that much more intimidating. That is real money that you're putting on the line. I was scared to join the stock market for a year. That's where Public.com because they're an investment platform that helps people be better investors. The key word there is help. They want to educate and inform everyday people to make smart investment decisions. That's why they allow you to follow other investors so you can make educated decisions by watching other people before you decide to pull the trigger. I'm out there, just search for @MapPatGT and you can see what trends I'm choosing to follow. And using the information from me and everyone else on Public, you'll be able to make smart decisions about what stocks you want. So, if you want to get started, then Public.com has got a surprise for you. If you go to Public.com/MapPat, or you just click the link at the top line of the description and create an account, you'll get a free stock that is worth up to $300. And I'm sure that some of you out there are saying, I wish you told me about this deal sooner. I've been trading stocks somewhere else. Well, don't worry about that one, friends. Public.com's got you covered there too. For a limited time, when you sign up, you can get up to $10,000 when you transfer your account from another brokerage, depending on the amount. So not only can you get up to $300 worth of free stock just for signing up, but you can also have a chance of getting up to $10,000 if you're moving your account from someone else. And you get to keep all your current investments. That is a win-win-win as far as I'm concerned. So there's really no reason not to go head on over to Public.com/MapPat or just check out the description down below to create your account today.
Within every human being lies the potential to help cure and prevent disease. At Regeneron Genetic Center, we've invented new robots and processes, even incorporated artificial intelligence and machine learning to quickly sequence the genes of millions of people, analyze the data, and find ways a person's genes can protect or expose them to disease. We're diving deep into the genetic code to find the superpowers sparking the potential of genetics medicine.
Bindi Boo! Welcome, my scrubs, to Bindi! Again! Chapter 3! I mean, I don't know what you're doing here if you don't know already, but we're replaying all of the Bendy chapters up until the new Bendy in the Dark Revival, which I'm super excited for. And you know, we're going to talk about the merch. Get the merch November 15th. It's going to be a hype day. I've been having a lot of fun replaying this. Thank you, everyone that's supporting the series, by the way. I'm a little better today. I've been feeling sick. Still sick. My voice is still a little bit weird, but this is okay. Chapter 3, Rise and Fall. This is where we go all ham with Boris. Yeah, they like wanted to make it clear that you're gonna be with Boris this time. Poor Boris. He never does anything though. Oh yeah, I think it was like okay. Trying to remember. Trying to get back my memories. Pretty sure we get a bone. Boris, so good to see you again. Boris is seriously just goofy, right? No one can tell me otherwise. The library's always missing. What did you do, Boris? What did you do with it, Boris? You put it in the bacon soup again? It's funny is because like in chapter 1 I couldn't remember like hardly anything that happened, and then chapter 2 it's like maybe I remember a little more, but I see it because I play them like it's been a shorter amount of time as the chapters progress that I've played. It's still been years though, so. Oh God, Boris freaking duking up the toilet again. Why, dude? Why don't you stop doing that, man? It's hard to be roommates with you, Boris. Oh, I forgot to talk to him. Say something, dude. This is where we're gonna collect all the bacon soup. Who seriously wants to eat ink? I don't want to eat no ink. And we clearly swallowed the soup. What did we burp feed it for? We make these swallow noises. All right, let me burp feed it in this pot. I can't be the only one that has thought of this, right? Like, I mean, make these gulping noises, man. All right, here's your soup. Was that really so hard to do? Because you had to hold the levers? Makes me mad. I get mad when characters don't help. It's like clearly I'm in a predicament, and they don't want to help at all. And at the same time, I love them. Oh yeah, that's right. He's like, "What are you doing in there?" Well, how that's so conveniently placed. Oh, that's right. It kind of makes you go slow here. Oh, I think we're supposed to escort him. Freaking Boris, this is why he makes you mad. What are you just shaking for? Boris, I need you to man up, okay? I really hope at the end of the new Bendy the Dark Revival, it's just Boris. He's the main boss, main enemy. He was the enemy all along. I mean, notice how he wasn't in the new trailer, right? Like, they had like a little figure of it, but I'm just saying. I think that's that would be the ultimate plot twist. All right, go on through there, Boris. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. Don't worry. Boris sure is taking his time. Find a new exit. There he is. If you open your mouth, you can get some free bacon soup. Whoa, I forgot to take it all in. Isn't there like a secret in here somewhere? I think I might be making that up right now, but like I feel like there was a secret in here somewhere. Oh, we can jump. Have we always been able to jump?
Okay, so
Oh, okay. You know, it's coming back to me now that I remember. You can actually get really stuck in here. This is where Jacksepticeye is. Yeah. Jacksepticeye is trying to be in every indie horror game possible. He was just in Poppy Playtime. That is actual accent. It's just his normal talking voice, is it not? Okay, so we can change this. Okay, all right. I'm actually starting to remember. There's a secret boss battle in this chapter. I don't know if I'll be able to do it this time because I don't remember. I'm not sure if I remember it. I say that there's like a secret to that. Gotta take this stuff out. Who's jamming toys in this freaking thing anyway? Turn on the toy machine. Ah.
Quite the gal. Like a picture old BG by now. Oh my god! Oh my god! Is it this?
Welcome to a world where Disney Plus and ESPN Plus will forces.
Well, I guess nobody's joining the vote. So let's just end it here.